Did you ever wonder which are the strongest families in Dragon Ball? And if you did, how exactly would you rank them? How high on the list is Beerus' family? Beerus, Champa, that's two gods of destruction. And what about the Supreme Demon King's family? The OG Supreme Demon King is basically the man responsible for the creation of the multiverse. His family should be pretty high, right? Well, today, we'll explain as well as rank the top 20 strongest families in Dragon Ball. Spoiler alert, Goku and Vegeta's families are not in the top 5. Also, some quick notes just before we begin. We generally want at least 2 genuinely strong fighters to consider a family strong. But in some cases, when one member is so exceptionally overpowered that they carry the entire bloodline, we'll still consider them. And I'm sure you can imagine which families I'm referencing here. But even in those cases, they do need to have some sort of a blood-related family. Which means, sorry, Boo and his incarnation Oob don't count as a family. Also, biological creations which don't have any blood ties to their creator, like Cell or Cell Max, aren't gonna count either. Now, there will be 3 controversial rankings in the video, so make sure you watch until the end to see if you agree with the hot takes we've selected today. And with that out of the way, let's begin the exciting part of the video. The lowest ranking family we have is Master Roshi's family at number 20. But don't let that ranking fool you. His family is still among the 20th strongest families in all of Dragon Ball. Of course, the only 2 known members of his family are Roshi himself and his sister, Fortune Teller Baba. But these 2 are arguably the most impressive humans alive. Although you could say that Roshi is weaker than Krillin, who's the strongest human. But Roshi is overall more impressive. He's been alive for over 300 years, and Toriyama once stated that he'll outlive the rest of the cast. His martial arts mastery is so great that he was able to use the principles of Ultra Instinct to stall Jiren during the Tournament of Power. This incredible showing of martial art finesse shocked the Omni Kings and left even the gods of destruction speechless, as a mere earthling was executing concepts meant solely for divine entities. He dodged direct strikes from a multiversal juggernaut through sheer instinct and muscle memory honed over centuries of rigorous physical and spiritual conditioning. His max power form also allows him to output monumental amounts of ki, capable of completely obliterating the moon in early Dragon Ball, a planetary scale feat achieved with a power level under 200. Krillin may be stronger, but he can't catch Jiren off guard, can he? And then there's Roshi's sister. She is over 500 years old, and while she's not as strong in the traditional sense, her supernatural abilities are genuinely broken. She can use her crystal ball to see the past, the future, or anywhere in the present. She can also revive someone for one day, like she originally did with Grandpa Gohan, and later with Goku, Vegeta, and even Frieza. This means her spiritual authority bypasses the standard laws of King Yama and the cosmic checkout systems of the other world. She possesses a direct pipeline to the afterlife, allowing her to manifest physical bodies for deceased warriors with their full operational power intact. And she also has other abilities like telepathy or magic materialization. Her spatial teleportation and absolute clairvoyance ensure that no enemy can ever hide from her vision, making her the ultimate support asset who wields reality warping esoteric arts that physical fighters have absolutely no defense against. And next, what if I gave you an even more insane fact? What if, for example, I told you that you can now turn a single image into a fully animated sequence, all thanks to PixAI? If you've ever experimented with AI animation for anime artwork, you've probably run into the biggest issue. The animation itself might look decent, but as the video progresses, the character slowly drifts away from the original design. The face changes, the hairstyle morphs, or even the outfit ends up looking different. That's why I was excited to try PixAI's new image-to-video version 4.0 preview. Unlike general-purpose image-to-video AI models, PixAI is designed specifically for anime-style character animation, with a strong focus on preserving the original character while bringing it to life. What immediately stood out to me was how consistent everything remained throughout the animation. The face, hair, colors, clothing, and overall proportions all stay faithful to the original artwork, even during camera movement. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Another feature I really appreciate is support for videos up to 15 seconds long. Instead of being limited to a few seconds of animation, you can create longer, more cinematic scenes with smooth camera pans, push-ins, pullbacks, orbit shots, or static compositions without having to stitch together multiple clips. If you're looking for more creative control, PixAI also offers keyframe mode. Rather than letting the AI decide everything, you can specify both the opening and ending frames, giving you much greater control over how the animation transitions from start to finish. PixAI also supports reference-based workflows, where your original illustration defines the character's appearance, while your prompt focuses on the action, camera movement, and overall atmosphere of the scene. It's easy to see why PixAI has attracted over 4 million monthly active users and surpassed 13 million downloads, even reaching the #1 spot in Japan's App Store graphic and design category. So, what are you waiting for? Download PixAI through the link in the description down below and give it a try today. Now, let's get back to our video. Next Next at number 19, we have a family that's gonna shock you, and it's Dr. Giroux's family. That includes Dr. Giroux himself, his wife Vami, his son Gevo, his grandson Dr. Hedo, and also androids like Android 21 or 16, which were created by using Giroux's blood relatives as templates. Android 21 is based on Giroux's own wife, while Android 16 is based on his dead son. Naturally, we're not counting 17 or 18 as part of his family because they were random twins named Lapis and Lazuli, who were kidnapped by Dr. Giroux and then turned into androids. As for Cell, and later Cell Max, they cannot be counted either. I mean, think about it, and let me know if this makes sense to you. Would you count Boo as Great Witch Marba's son just because she created him? Would you count the Eternal Dragons as the son of the Namekians who created them? No, right? And so, speaking of Dr. Giroux's family as his blood relatives, or androids created directly from his blood relatives, the strongest member is Android 16, who scales below semi-perfect Cell. Still, this family is genuinely impressive. Android 16 possessed enough physical force to match imperfect Cell after the latter had absorbed hundreds of thousands of humans, using his Hell Flash technique to rip up the Earth and generate nuclear-level concussive blasts. Furthermore, Android 21 in her Majin form exhibits an insatiable hunger combined with a power level that can easily rival high-tier Super Saiyan gods and Super Saiyan Blues, matching the combined efforts of the Z-Fighters while utilizing a specialized energy drain system. I mean, Dr. Giroux was able to create Perfect Cell, who was the perfect biological weapon, and his grandson, Dr. Hedo, was able to create Cell Max, who, if he had not been activated prematurely, would have been even stronger than Broly. Cell Max's sheer size, absolute physical durability, and explosive planetary-shattering ki output forced Gohan to unlock an entirely new tier of divine evolution just to pierce his cranium. And that is insane when you think about it. You're telling me that a scientist can create a biological being who's more powerful than the strongest mortals in the verse? What are they teaching in Dragon Ball schools? These ordinary human minds managed to reverse engineer divine ki, infinite energy reactors, and evolutionary genetic code to birth entities that put galaxy-busting threats to absolute shame. Now, before we move on to number 18, I've got a question for you. Do you think Tournament of Power Roshi could be Android 16? Continuing on, the family we have at number 18 is Grand Elder Guru's family. He was the one who created Porunga, the eternal dragon of planet Namek, and he is like the Big Mom of Dragon Ball, in the sense that he has had over 100 children. Though, do let me point out, Namekians reproduce by spitting eggs out of their mouths, and not like whatever Big Mom was up to. Also, many Dragon Ball fans may not remember this, but there was once a climate shift on Namek a few centuries ago where the entire population, with the exception of just 2 Namekians, perished. These 2 were the nameless Namekian, who, was the being Piccolo and Kami were before they separated, and Grand Elder Guru. And because the nameless Namekian went to Earth, Grand Elder Guru was the only one left on Namek. He started laying eggs to ensure the survival of his species, and in total, he gave birth to 109 Namekians. Basically, every native Namekian we see during the Namek arc is the child of Grand Elder Guru. This also makes this the biggest family in this video. But what about their strength? Well, most of them were of the Dragon Clan, which means they weren't built for fighting. But there are also a few warrior-type Namekians. The strongest of the warriors during Dragon Ball Z was Nail. His power level was 42,000, which was nowhere near enough for Frieza, and so he ended up fusing with Piccolo. Nail was incredibly durable, surviving a brutal beatdown from Frieza's first form without losing his tactical composure, demonstrating a high-speed cellular regeneration capability that allowed him to instantly regrow severed limbs as long as his brain remained undamaged. And speaking of Namekian fusion, many warrior-type Namekians fused during the Moro saga to stop Moro, who had just defeated Goku and Vegeta. They pooled their entire global life force and physical might into a single Mega Fusion warrior meant to act as Planet Namek's ultimate shield. Unfortunately, the fusion is killed by one blow to the chest. But still, the fact that they believe the fusion could be strong enough to stop Moro is saying something. Moro at the time was a multi-galaxy consuming ancient warlock who absorbed the life energy of entire planets, meaning this Namekian amalgamation was packing an immense amount of baseline power to even step onto the same battlefield. I'd say what they needed was Piccolo. If Piccolo was the lead Namekian in that fusion, they would have definitely become strong enough to defeat Moro, because Piccolo is simply that guy. Now, while we're talking about the strength of these Namekians, you've got to be thinking, Grand Elder Guru's family can create eternal dragons who can grant any wish. Shouldn't we be considering that and putting his family higher on the list? Hey, it's a fair question. As I said, this list is about the personal strengths of the members, not exactly their creations. Otherwise, we would have to consider the Great Witch Mamba as Boo's mother. Next up, at number 17, we have Supreme Kai Shin's family. In Daima, we see that Shin has 2 siblings, his younger brother Degasu and his older sister Dr. Arinsu. And when you think about it, this is quite an accomplished family. Shin is the Supreme Kai of Universe 7, Dr. Arinsu is the Vice Supreme Demon King, and as for Degasu, well, he's currently sealed in a jar and will be playing video games with Goma for 99 years. But he has been implied to be a Demon Supreme Kai. Now, while that sounds cool and all, how actually strong is this family? Because as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, this is ultimately a strength ranking. So let's look at our facts. We know that Degasu was easily one-shotted by Mini Piccolo, and meanwhile, Shin is somewhat strong. He could even one-shot OG Frieza. Shin also possesses highly advanced divine abilities like instant teleportation across cosmic dimensions, telekinesis strong enough to temporarily paralyze a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and materialization magic. But we also know that during the Buu saga, he was nothing to Super Saiyan 2 Goku or Vegeta. Plus, he was low-key terrified of Dabura, who is only as strong as Perfect Cell. Then there's their sister Arinsu, and she's a lot weaker than Majin Buu, so it's obvious that she's not really stronger than Shin either. Her primary assets lie in her hyper-advanced demonic intellect and scientific experiments, rather than any raw offensive capabilities. Overall, since this family is effectively capped at around Cell level or lower, we can't justify putting it any higher, because every single family from here on out is much, much stronger. Now, you can argue that Old Kai should be considered as part of his family, since he's essentially Shin's ancestor, but does that actually help push this family any higher? Not really. He's also weak. In fact, he's even weaker than Shin, considering how even a casual, uncharged Ki Blast from Goku was able to completely knock him out. His only true combat application is his mystical ability to unlock the latent potential of other fighters over a grueling ritual, which is an amazing ability, but does nothing for his own abysmal physical stats. Moving on to number 16, we have our first controversial pick. Who would we put higher in our list? The Demon Kings family or the Caulifla family? Well, here's what we think. It's the Supreme Demon Kings family at number 16, and this only includes the OG Supreme Demon King, Dabura's father Abura, and Dabura himself. We're not including Goma or Majin Buu, because although they've also held the title of the Supreme Demon King, they're not actually related to the OG King's family. Speaking of the OG King, a cartoonishly long time ago, he asked Rimus to create the multiverse, and that is a big deal, because the way it is presented makes it seem like he basically ordered Rimus to do it. But just because someone orders you to do something, does that mean they're stronger than you? No. Think about it. Beerus can order Whis to do all kinds of things all the time, but Whis is still strong enough to easily one-shot Beerus. So let's talk about actual scaling. Abura, without his third eye, was easily defeated by Dabura, and Dabura himself is only implied to be around Perfect Cell's level. Dabura utilized a variety of dark magic techniques, including materialized demonic swords, fire breath, and a highly dangerous spit that instantly petrifies anyone it touches into solid stone. This petrification technique was potent enough to incapacitate both Piccolo and Krillin simultaneously, proving that his mystical hacks is far more dangerous than his physical power level. Plus, even though Dabura was stated to be the strongest in the demon realm before Babidi took control of him, we also know that he couldn't even defeat Tamagami number 3 to get the Dragon Ball. The Tamagami are mechanical guardians built with immense durability and localized energy nullification shields, meaning Dabura's solar system busting physical capabilities were completely shut down by ancient machinery. So essentially, just like how Shin's family isn't anything special when it comes to actual power scaling, the Supreme Demon Kings family isn't anything special either from what we've seen so far. Now, there is one major point I want to address before we move forward. Is the OG Supreme Demon King who ordered the creation of the multiverse even related to Abura and Dabura? That's a valid question, because it hasn't been officially confirmed in the canon. But when you compare Abura's appearance to that of the original King's appearance, they look nearly identical. The only difference is the skin tone. But then again, there's been an incomprehensible amount of time between the King and Abura, so a change in skin tone over time does make sense, which is why we're going to assume that they are related. In fact, all Demon Kings must have been from the same bloodline, at least until Dabura left no successor and Goma took over later. But what do you think? Am I lowballing this family? Go ahead and tell me, where would you have put the Supreme Demon Kings family? Alright, next up at number 15, we have Caulifla's family. This family includes Caulifla herself and her brother Renzo. Obviously, Caulifla's the stronger. I mean, she can go Super Saiyan 2. Her rapid adaptation in the midst of battle allowed her to jump from base form to Super Saiyan 2 within a single afternoon, a feat that took Earth Saiyans years of intense emotional trauma and physical torture to achieve. Her raw energetic output via techniques like the Crush Cannon can pressure top-tier combatants, and her natural instincts for kinetic movement make her a prodigy capable of trading blows with a worn-out Super Saiyan God Goku. But let me add that, according to Kaba, Renzo was allegedly the best Saiyan candidate for Universe 6's team, even though he was injured and retired, which means that, whether Super Saiyan or not, Renzo is an exceptional Saiyan. His battle tactics, leadership, and raw tactical baseline in base form must have been outstanding to earn such massive praise from the elite military forces of Sadala. Wait, speaking of Universe 6 Saiyans, what about their royal family? We already know know that their king is King Sadala. So just like how Universe 7 has the Vegeta bloodline, there should be a Sadala bloodline in Universe 6, right? True, but the only known member of that bloodline is King Sadala himself, and we know nothing about him. All we know is that Caulifla, even before she joined Universe 6's team and became a Super Saiyan, was so strong that King Sadala had zero control over her gang's territory. This implies that even in her base state, Caulifla's power level far exceeded the Royal Elite Guard and the king himself, ruling the criminal underworld through sheer, unadulterated physical dominance. Of course, we know Kaba told Vegeta that King Sadala has a strong and prideful personality like Vegeta, but he's likely not strong, because why else would he let Caulifla have her own territory on what is essentially his planet? What do you think? Is King Sadala also a bum with a power level similar to King Vegeta, whose power level is a lot less than 18,000? Well, anyway, coming back to Caulifla, a Super Saiyan 2 like Caulifla can easily beat Cell, which means she can solo the Demon King realm unless the Demon King uses the third eye. But that's an artifact and not one's personal strength. Now, moving on to number 14, it's the Trio of Danger, the three werewolf brothers from Universe 9. We're talking about Bergamo, Lavender, and Basil. These three brothers were essentially the strongest mortals of Universe 9. And honestly, this is funny because when you see these brothers here at number 14, you'll have one of these two reactions. Either you'll say, why are the strongest mortals of a universe all the way down here at number 14? Or the more likely reaction would be, why are those bums up so high? Just goes to show you how weak Universe 9 really is. They were only impressive during the Zeno Expo. And even then, Bergamo, the strongest of the three, was only impressive because he absorbed Goku's ki. Bergamo's specialized physiology allows him to convert incoming physical and kinetic damage directly into physical scale and raw power, growing massive in size while matching the strike velocity of a Super Saiyan Blue. This makes him a dangerous counterpuncher who thrives against opponents who rely on brute force. Of course, absorption is still a big deal, but again, the absorption is limited. Bergamo could only absorb so much of Goku's power before reverting back to normal. Basil got played by Boo, and although Lavender did well against Gohan during the Zeno Expo match, it was also only because Gohan was out of practice. Lavender's main asset is his highly corrosive, lethal poison mist, which can bypass standard defensive ki barriers, blind his opponents, and slowly rot their internal organs from the inside out. Basil uses highly pressurized explosive leg strikes like the Shining Blaster to deliver rapid-fire kinetic volleys capable of shattering energy shields. All in all, Universe 9's strongest fighters are a trio of bums. No wonder Beerus called them weaklings and added that Goku can easily beat all three of them. They are still above Caulifla's family because of their gimmicks, poison hacks, kinetic conversion, and even their synchronized team attacks like the Triangle Danger Beam, which can match a Super Saiyan, and even a Super Saiyan 2 in Bergamo's case. But number 14 is where they're gonna top out. Alright, we've talked about 7 families so far, but there's still 13 more to go. The scale only gets higher and higher from here on out. Number 13 is Krillin's family. This includes Krillin and 18, as well as their daughter Marin, but also includes Krillin's brother-in-law and 18's brother 17. And you know, there's no need to even argue this. Everyone's going to agree that 17 is strong enough to beat the Trio of Danger all by himself. I mean, 17 was on a generational run during the Tournament of Power. His infinite stamina reactor means he never suffers from metabolic exhaustion, allowing him to throw thousands of maximum output barrier techniques and ki blasts back to back without dropping his operational efficiency by a single %. Even before the tournament, he was able to match Super Saiyan Blue Goku despite not using his full power. His tactical intelligence is off the charts, utilizing surprise barriers, self-detonation bluffs, and environmental awareness to outsmart multi-universal level threats. Then, during the Tournament of Power, he was literally the last man standing. And although this does not mean he was the actual strongest, it's still funny how, while 17 was the last man standing, the Trio of Danger's universe was the first to get eliminated. Talk about a gap in execution, right? Wait, we've only been talking about 17 here. So what about 18 and Krillin? Although she's obviously not as strong as 17, she still has many feats, like, for example, kicking away Super Saiyan Blue Goku's God Kamehameha during his sparring with Krillin. And 18 also possesses an infinite energy supply, meaning she can maintain high-speed flight and relentless physical pressure indefinitely, outlasting opponents who are technically stronger on paper. I'd say you could argue that she could also solo the Trio of Danger, although Krillin himself may not be able to solo them, considering how he was knocked out by Frost. Krillin, however, has developed incredible tactical hacks, like the Solar Flare times 100, which can completely blind an opponent's physical vision and sensory ki perception simultaneously, giving him a massive strategic window to land a devastating Destructo Disc that can cut through objects far above his own power level. What do you think? Can Krillin also solo the top 3 of Universe 9? Let me know down in the comments. After Krillin, we have Piccolo's family at number 12. This includes Kadas, the father of the nameless Namekian, who eventually split into King Piccolo and Kami. And you can say that Kadas is Piccolo's grandfather, considering how Piccolo is technically technically King Piccolo's son. Now, Kadas himself doesn't have any on-screen feats, but we know that his son was one of the 2 survivors of the climate shift on Namek a few centuries ago. And by the way, Lord Slug also survived that climate shift, but we're only considering the actual canon here, unless you're related to Goku or Vegeta, or even Frieza, in which case we're always making an exception. So anyway, Grand Elder Guru stayed on Namek while the nameless Namekian came to Earth, and the nameless Namekian was strong. So strong that Guru believed only a Super Saiyan could have defeated him. This means his power level before separating into Kami and King Piccolo was already in the millions, far eclipsing anything seen in early Dragon Ball history. Of course, Piccolo himself is still the strongest of his family. He was able to overwhelm second form Frieza after fusing with Nail, and he became stronger than a Super Saiyan during the Cell Saga, where he fused with Kami, physically matching Android 17 in a brutal war of attrition. His hyper-focused special beam cannon can pierce through cosmic armors by concentrating his entire ki pool into a single microscopic point, and his most recent jump in scaling puts him above even the current 17. You see, after getting his orange Piccolo form, he's now relative to Super Saiyan Blue Goku. This divine transformation granted to him by Shenron unlocks his full latent potential and adds an extra layer of structural density to his muscles, turning him into an absolute immovable powerhouse. And obviously, he's also stronger than 17. The Gammas were stated to be the strongest androids, which means they were stronger than 17 and 18. Yet Orange Piccolo is exponentially stronger than them, shrugging off Gamma 2's maximum effort physical strikes without even budging an inch. Alright, continuing on, we have Jiren's family at number 11. Wait, hang on, Jiren's family all the way down here at number 11? What's going on here? He should be in the top 10, right? Well, just hear me out for a second. To begin with, Jiren is the only named member of his race, let alone his family. So should we even be talking about him in the context of this video? Well, yes, because unlike characters like Boo or Cell Max, who were artificially created, Jiren was born biologically. This means he had a family, and he is also strong enough that we can make an exception for him and add him to the video. I mean, he was literally the strongest mortal in the entire multiverse during the Tournament of Power. We're talking about someone even stronger than his universe's god of destruction, Belmont. Jiren's raw strength is so overwhelming that the mere shockwaves of his punches can distort dimensional spaces and overwhelm maximum output Kamehamehas. His psychic glare is strong enough to repel high-tier energy attacks, and his absolute mastery over his internal ki means he wastes zero energy during movement, generating an impenetrable wall of offensive and defensive power that forced Goku to unlock Mastered Ultra Instinct just to match his speed. But even so, he's down here at number 11. Just goes to show how overpowered the families from here on out are gonna be. Now, if you're enjoying the rankings so far, how about you smash that like button and get excited, because the top 10 are going to hit you very differently than the 10 families we've already talked about. Number 10 is Broly's family, and obviously, there's just him and his father, Paragus. And to be fair, Paragus is kinda chopped. Even at his prime, he must have been Nappa level max. But just like Jiren is enough to get a spot in this video all by himself, Broly is the same way. His genetic profile as a legendary Super Saiyan gives him an endless well of explosive kinetic energy that expands continuously the longer he fights. His durability is practically limitless, letting him tank direct blows from Super Saiyan Blue combatants without showing a single sign of physical damage. His arc happened after the Tournament of Power, and yet he was able to completely manhandle both Goku and Vegeta at the same time. In fact, the situation got so overwhelming that this became the first time in the actual canon that Goku and Vegeta ended up fusing into Gogeta. Broly's animalistic battle adaptation allowed him to jump from base level to surpassing a Super Saiyan God in less than an hour of continuous combat, tearing apart the fabric of reality itself during his clash with Gogeta. And even then, Gogeta had to transform into Super Saiyan Blue to finally defeat him, unleashing a cataclysmic barrage of Stardust-infused dimensional attacks to finally surpass Broly's surging power. Now, of course, Goku and Vegeta have seemingly surpassed Broly since then, but they've obviously also far surpassed Jiren, unless, Jiren has somehow unlocked a new transformation off-screen, which is always possible, but we'll just have to wait for that to be proven. Still, this is an interesting matchup. Who do you think would win in a 1v1, Broly or Jiren? Let me know in the comments. Number 9 is Granola's family, and this is a weird situation. Granola is stronger than Broly and Jiren, but he became that strong because of the Dragon Balls. So if you look at his family members, his mother, Muesli, was so weak that Bardock was completely unfazed when she destroyed his shoulder pads. And as for his father, Flake, he was among the stronger Cerealians, considering how he could destroy the moon and even injure a Great Ape, but he was easily killed by a low-class Saiyan like Taro. Of course, most Saiyans throughout history have also been weak, but nothing so far has implied that the Cerealian race has anywhere close to the same level of genetic potential as the Saiyans. Otherwise, Granola would have spent his decades working to make himself stronger rather than making money as a bounty hunter and ultimately relying on the the Dragon Balls. Still, as far as the context of strength goes, we're not going to discriminate here. Granola was, for a time, stronger than Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta. His specialized right eye allows him to see the complete flow of blood, muscle movements, and vital weak points of his targets with pixel-perfect clarity. Combining this evolutionary trait with his newly wished power, he can fire incredibly precise key-piercing beams that target an enemy's absolute vital nodes, completely bypassing their external key armor to knock out even God-tier Saiyans with a single, highly calculated finger flick. And you know what? Gas from the Heaters is in the exact same situation, and the Heaters are our 8th family on the list. Their named members include Maki, Oil, Gas, and Elec, who are all siblings. They are a rich and powerful intel group who used to operate as brokers for the Frieza Force, and they used to be reasonably strong. Elec, their leader, is actually the weakest of the siblings, but Toyotaro confirmed that he is still stronger than the Ginyu Force. Their strongest is Gas, who became the strongest mortal of Universe 7 thanks to the Cerulean Dragon Balls. This naturally made him even stronger than Granola, considering how the Gas Wish was made after Granola's. Gas possesses a terrifying ability to materialize physical weapons out of raw energy, creating massive axes, swords, shields, and even telekinetically controlled constructs that can impale god-tier opponents. When his primal instincts are fully unleashed by removing his power-repressing headpiece, his body warps into a berserker state, granting him physical speed and cellular durability that allowed him to completely overpower Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta simultaneously. He literally traded his own lifespan for a concentrated burst of reality-breaking offensive dominance. And so, the Heaters get to be one spot higher than Granola's family. Alright, just 7 more to go, and the family we have at number 7 is Vegeta's family. This includes everyone of Vegeta's royal bloodline, and it also includes Bulma's side of the family, who are literally the richest people on Earth. So as you can expect, we have royal blood and wealth, and also a lot of characters. But talking strictly in terms of raw strength, we're really just looking at the Saiyans. This includes Vegeta himself, Trunks, Future Trunks, Bulla, King Vegeta, Vegeta Jr., and Vegeta's younger brother, Tarble. Of course, King Vegeta is the weakest, considering how Vegeta surpassed him when he was just a kid, which was decades before his fight with Goku. Tarble is the second weakest, although he was able to stall Abo and Kato, who are as strong as first form Frieza, though he ultimately lost. Then there's Vegeta Jr., Vegeta's descendant from the future, who could go Super Saiyan. Present Trunks is next, who can also go Super Saiyan, and obviously, he has an exponentially higher power level and far more battle experience than Vegeta Jr., having mastered the multi-person fusion technique to become Gotenks, who can access Super Saiyan 3 and manipulate space-time portals through pure vocal screaming. Future Trunks is even higher on the scale, as he can go Super Saiyan 2, and he even unlocked transformations like Super Saiyan Rage and Spirit Bomb's Super Saiyan Sword, which was literally able to slice fused Zamasu in half. This feat showed that his half-Saiyan emotional baseline can channel the localized hopes and life force of an entire timeline into a razor-sharp divine construct, capable of cleaving immortal gods apart. And finally, at the top, there's Vegeta, a Saiyan who has mastered Ultra Ego. This state converts any incoming physical damage and battle lust directly into raw offensive fuel, making him progressively stronger and more destructive the more punishment he absorbs during a fight, utilizing the divine energy of Hawkeye to completely erase matter from existence. And let me add that in their most recent duel, Vegeta even won against Goku. But wait, we missed Bulla. How strong is she? Well, even in GT, we never really saw her fight. She can obviously become strong if she locks in, but it appears she's not going to be a fighter. Unless, Toyotaro decides to make her one in the later sagas. But anyway, Vegeta and Future Trunks are hard carrying this family. But if you compare Future Trunks to characters like Gas, Granola, Broly, and Jiren, isn't it ultimately just Vegeta who's doing the heavy lifting here? But hold on, Vegeta's family may have another member. I mean, could it be that the OG Super Saiyan God, whose silhouette looks exactly like Vegeta, is a part of his family? We're talking about the first Super Saiyan God, who was born with the help of Yamoshi's spirit and 5 other righteous Saiyans. And so, what do you think? If we count that legendary Saiyan as a part of Vegeta's family, would it change the ranking? We think not really. The current power scale has far surpassed the scaling of a basic Super Saiyan God, so his inclusion isn't enough to put Vegeta's family any higher on this list. I mean, the very next family has 2 characters who are both as strong as Vegeta. It's Goku's family next at number 6, and this is quite a big family, as aside from Chi-Chi, Gohan, and Goten, it also includes Bardock, Gine, and Raditz as his blood relatives, Grandpa Gohan as his adoptive grandpa, Ox King as his father-in-law, not to mention Mr. Satan as his son's father-in-law, Videl as his son's wife, Pan as his granddaughter, and Goku Jr. as his descendant. That's a lot of characters, and a lot of Super Saiyan Saiyans too. I mean, Goku, Gohan, Goten, Bardock, Pan, and Goku Jr. are all Super Saiyans. That's 6 Super Saiyans, literally the exact number needed to do the Super Saiyan God ritual. Bardock himself possessed an indomitable warrior will that allowed him to push past the physical limits during his final stand against Gas on planet Cereal, developing a unique Saiyan awakening that bypassed traditional form restrictions. Pan exhibits immense natural potential, being able to fly around the Earth's atmosphere as a literal infant and mastering advanced martial arts basics faster than most adult humans. Now, the 2 strongest of this family, Goku and Gohan, are both relative to Vegeta. Goku has mastered perfected Ultra Instinct, which allows his body to automatically react, dodge, and counterattack any incoming threat with perfect mechanical precision without the delay of conscious thought, making him virtually untouchable on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Gohan has his broken beast form. This transformation taps into his bottomless well of inner rage, granting him an ominous, dense aura of crimson and white ki that can completely nullify maximum effort planetary attacks, such as Cell Max's ultimate energy sphere, before obliterating the target with a hypercharged special beam cannon. This is why, even if Vegeta's family is the one from which the OG Super Saiyan God or even Yamoshi himself were born, Goku's family is definitively stronger. By the way, do you think Vegeta can beat Beast Gohan in a duel, like how he recently beat Goku? Alright, it's time to start up the top 5 strongest families in Dragon Ball, and at number 5, it's Frieza's family. There's his father King Cold, his brother Cooler, and his ancestor Chilled. And you know what? There's also Frieza's son, Kuriza, who appears in Toriyama's Nekomajin series. They are all a species of frost demons who can survive pretty much anything, including the vacuum of outer space and complete bodily bisection. And at least Frieza himself seems to have a virtually limitless potential for easy power growth. I mean, he was able to match Super Saiyan Blue with Golden Frieza after just 4 months of actual training, jumping from a baseline weaker than a basic Super Saiyan to a level capable of trading blows with divine gods. And if that wasn't absurd enough, after 10 years of training in a room of spirit and time found on a conquered planet, Black Frieza is so strong that even Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta are fodder for him. He was able to blitz and one-shot both of the Saiyan Universe-class elites simultaneously with a single casual physical strike to their midsections, showcasing a speed-to-power ratio that currently sits entirely unmatched among all active mortals. Of course, not everyone in his family is as strong. King Cold and Cooler are still Super Saiyan victims, and the same goes for Chilled, who was defeated by Super Saiyan Bardock. Kuriza is also nothing special. Basically, Frieza's family are mutants among their race, kind of like how Broly is a mutant of the Saiyan race. And even among Frieza's family, only Frieza is really built like this. This naturally means Frieza is hard carrying his family, just like many of the previous bloodlines we talked about. But even so, Black Frieza can realistically beat the current Goku and Gohan all by himself, which justifies putting his family here at number 5. And for the second controversial pick, who do you think should be placed higher? Beerus's family or Zeno's attendants? Here's what we think. Number 4 is Beerus's family, which includes Beerus himself and his twin, Champa. Beerus is obviously the stronger of the two, which is confirmed by Vados, the Angel of Universe 6, and also by how Beerus's portrayal so far seems to be implying that he is the strongest God of Destruction. During the God of Destruction exhibition match in the manga, Beerus single-handedly held his ground against all 11 other destroyers simultaneously, utilizing a prototype version of Ultra Instinct combined with his absolute mastery of Hakai energy to deflect their coordinated assaults. Champa, while lazier and out of shape, still possesses the fundamental destructive traits of a God of Destruction, capable of shattering planets with casual physical tantrums and generating universe-threatening energy shockwaves whenever he clashes directly with his brother. And speaking of Beerus, he is a moving goalpost type of character, in the sense that he's always written to be just ahead of the current power scale, meaning he can still beat Black Frieza. His Hakai can entirely erase physical objects, souls, and even ghostly apparitions from historical timelines, ensuring that his raw power scales infinitely above any mortal benchmark. Another reason why Beerus's family is so high is because it has 2 destroyers in it. And destroyers are characters who have not been power cliffed. Even with Jiren being stronger than the destroyer of his own universe, Beerus himself is going to keep carrying the destroyer agenda for a long, long time. Also, I bet you're wondering if Dispo from Universe 11 is a potential member of this race. I mean, it could be possible since they look identical, and in fact, even Champa says Dispo looks like Beerus. But when you think about it, the fact that Champa actually points it out makes it clear that they don't have any blood relation. Dispo looking like Beerus is just his quirk. Also, while Beerus and Champa are clearly cat-like, Dispo is rabbit-like, Now, if a family of 2 destroyers is still at number 4, what kind of families do we have in the top 3? Well, let's start talking about it. It's finally time for the top 3 strongest families in Dragon Ball. Number 3 is Zeno's attendants. Obviously, this is going to be a controversial pick, because we're placing these 2 guards who have not even been named over Beerus's family. And I'll admit, this placing relies on a lot of speculation. But hear me out. If we assume that Zeno's attendants are related, considering the consistent theme of how many deities in Dragon Ball are related, like Shin's siblings, Beerus and Champa, and all the angels, the next question is, how strong are they? We know that they are literally always guarding Zeno, aside from that one time during the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga, where the Grand Priest gives them time off so the Zeno duo can play with Beerus, Shin, and Whis, and that's when we see them relaxing in a hot bath. But when you think about it, it makes their importance in the scaling that much more apparent. I mean, if they were merely decorations, there wouldn't be any need to give them official time off, right? They have to be exceptionally strong. Their physical speed allows them to instantly position themselves ahead of any instantaneous movement technique to intercept perceived threats to the Omni King. They are likely the strongest beings in existence aside from the Grand Priest himself. I mean, they are guarding the Omni Kings of all people, meaning their baseline combat capabilities must act as a reliable deterrent against high-tier reality warpers. Plus, you know how it is, the angels are all also technically the attendants of their respective destroyers. Of course, the dynamic between an angel and a destroyer is a lot different than the dynamic between Zeno and his attendants, but it does prove that attendants are never irrelevant. Also, this is not a Frieza situation where Zarbon and Dodoria were not even 1% as strong as Frieza. Remember, while the Omni Kings can erase anything, they cannot actually fight by themselves. I mean, we know that they couldn't even keep track of a fighter like Dispo. This means that the attendants are absolutely necessary in case anyone actually tries to come after Zeno, which could include rogue destroyers. So all things considered, we're giving Zeno's attendants this spot. Their combat output and reaction metrics are theoretically tuned to a level where they can effortlessly pin down a god of destruction without a moment's hesitation. But again, this is a controversial placing, so tell me, would you put these 2 unnamed guards above Beerus and Champa? And on the last controversial pick of today's video, we have Zeno's attendants versus Remus's family. You'll understand why we rank them the way that we did in a little bit. And on the last controversial pick of today's video, we have the angels versus Remus's family. And you'll understand why we rank them the way we did in a little bit. Next up is number 2, and this family is all about the individuals who hold the absolute highest authority over the multiverse. We have Majin Remus, who literally created the multiverse and is the highest authority over it. His metaphysical authority allows him to design dimensional frameworks, establish cosmic laws, and structure the spiritual architecture of reality itself. Then we have the Omni King Zeno, who acts as the supreme ruler of the multiverse. Zeno possesses the absolute power of erasure, a technique that requires 0 physical effort or key concentration. With a casual wave of his hand, he can completely wipe multiple entire universes, timelines, and abstract concepts out of existence in a microsecond, leaving behind an absolute void of nothingness. Now, there is no direct canon correlation between Remus and Zeno, aside from their similar designs and the fact that they are both somehow operating as the highest authority, which is why what I say next is going to be a theory. And overall, you can also consider this a controversial placing, but just hear me out. We know that it's only been 60 million or so years since Zeno became the Omni King. We also know that Remus is the one who chooses the high-ranking deities of the universes, like the Supreme Kais. And since Supreme Kais and Gods of Destruction are a life-linked pair, the one who appoints one fundamentally influences the existence of the other. So, if Remus is responsible for assigning such roles so that the multiverse can be monitored in his stead, could it be that Zeno is actually Remus's son, and Zeno is simply serving as the supreme ruler of the multiverse as his father's direct proxy? It would explain why Zeno became the Omni King something like 60 million years ago, and not since the beginning of the multiverse's creation. It's because until 60 million years ago, Remus himself was the Omni King, wielding absolute dominion before delegating the physical administrative erasure rights to his direct lineage. What do you think about this theory? Does it connect the dots for you, or do you think it's a bit of a reach? Let me know down in the comments. And finally, that takes us to the number 1 strongest family in all of Dragon Ball, the Angels. The Grand Priest is the father of all angels, which means all angels are essentially one family, and when it comes to raw strength and scaling, they are completely unsurpassed by any other race, let alone any other family. They are permanently in a state of perfected ultra instinct, meaning their bodies automatically fluidly adapt to any dimensional combat threat without a single millisecond of cognitive delay. Whis can easily incapacitate a rampaging god of destruction like Beerus with a single light chop to the neck, and Vados can effortlessly shatter planets from light years away with a casual tap of her staff. Furthermore, they possess the ability to manipulate time itself, reversing events by up to 3 minutes to rewrite causal history, alongside advanced matter reconstruction and instant healing capabilities that can revive fallen gods. As for their strongest member, could it be the Grand Priest himself? I mean, his power is so far beyond comprehension that even Whis admits his own strength is not even within a fraction of his father's. In the manga, he was explicitly declared the strongest fighter in the entire multiverse. He can stop high-tier divine strikes with a single bare finger, and his presence alone forces every deity in existence to bow in absolute submission. Now, we know that the angels are heavily restricted by divine cosmic laws and what they can do, but they are also given a special status. I mean, when the universes were being erased during the Tournament of Power, the angels were entirely exempt from the destruction, proving that their structural existence is tied directly to the fundamental balance of the multiverse itself. And so, there you have it, the top 20 strongest families in Dragon Ball. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and click on this video next for more great anime content. Go on, check it out!